A reader lives 1,000 lives. The man who never reads lives only one. Now this quote came from a book called A Dance with Dragons by George R.R. Martin. I've never read this book, I just came across the quote on the internet. But when I read it, I felt it was completely true. So if you haven't guessed it already, this video is about books. I love books. While some people have maybe a few books on a little shelf somewhere in their room, I have a whole bookshelf dedicated to all my books. I couldn't imagine not liking books, and I think that everyone likes books. It's just some people haven't found the right book for them. Now you know when you found the right book for you, when you can't put it down. The kind of book that keeps you up till midnight. The kind of book where you think, I will read to the end of this chapter and then put it down. But you don't, because you have to find out what happens in the next chapter. That is a good book, and that is the book for you. I found a few books like this, and the first one has to be Harry Potter. I decided, right, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to read the first Harry Potter book. And from that moment, I cannot put the book down. I've probably read every book over 5 times now, and every single time, I can't put the book down. It doesn't matter that I've already read the story. Every time I read it, I learn something new, something that I forgot since the last time I read it. And that's one of the things I love about Harry Potter. You just can't get bored of it. Personally, I think J.K. Rowling is an incredible author. Her style of writing, the words she uses, the way she just captivates your imagination. I always find that the books I like are generally a series of books. They're not usually stand-alone books. I don't know why this is. Perhaps I just like reading every single adventure and watching their story progress. Like the next one, Artemis Fowl. I started reading these after a friend recommended them to me. If you haven't read these, it's about a boy who is a criminal mastermind, and he's trying to capture some fairies in the first one. And basically the rest of the books involve him and the fairies. But these aren't ordinary fairies. These fairies, they live underground in secret, and they have technology beyond anything we have. They can also do magic. Okay, that does sound kind of strange, but strange can sometimes be a good thing. My next set of books is the Redwall series. I only have 3 of them here. I have way more over there, and I don't even own all of them. Now, if you thought fairies with gadgets were weird, this is weirder. Because this is about talking animals. Despite the fact that they're animals, I still really enjoy every single character in his books. And usually someone dies, and I cry every single time. Every single book is a different adventure, usually with a different generation of animals. And it's basically like looking at the history of Redwall Abbey. Because yeah, that's one thing I didn't tell you. They live in an abbey. The really sad thing is that the author wrote a new book almost every single year, but last year he passed away, which means there are no more coming out. And it's a shame. The last set of books I'm telling you about is The Hunger Games. I had never heard of The Hunger Games until I saw an advert for the movie on TV, and I thought it was really, really good. So I felt before I watched the movie, I had to go and read the book. The books were on sale on Amazon, so I just bought all 3 of them. And when they arrived, it took me 6 days to go through all 3 of them. One thing about my books though is that they are in pristine condition, because when I got them they were all sleek and I did not want to ruin that. So I basically spent 6 days reading the books like this, because I didn't want to create any creases in the spine there. Then I lent this one to a friend, and when I got it back, there was a crease. A little crease right there. Yeah, you know who you are. You may have noticed that there is a kind of a theme running along all the books that I read. They're all fiction and generally fantasy-based books. I prefer these kind of books just because they really let your imagination run wild. Fantasy is not an escape from the soul of our world, but an invitation to go deeper into it. That was said by Andrew Slack, a co-founder of the HP Alliance. One more book to tell you about, and that is the most recent book that I've read, The Fault in Our Stars. So it's different to all the books that I've told you about, and it's very different to books I normally read. But I actually really enjoyed it, and I couldn't put it down. Now I'm currently reading 2 books, and one of them is Quantum Theory Cannot Hurt You, and the other one is A Briefer History of Time. I'm reading these because I have told you in a past video that I want to be a scientist, and they're not actually that bad. Now, in Quantum Theory Cannot Hurt You, you know what kind of people read these books. When chapter 2, it has a paragraph at the beginning of chapter 2 describing a telescope, and it describes the control panel not unlike the console of the Starship Enterprise. I think they're just assuming that the kind of people who read physics books are the kind of people who watch Star Trek. After I finish reading those 2 books, I'm going to be reading In Search of Schrodinger's Cat. If you haven't heard of Schrodinger's Cat, go and look it up, because it's a very interesting thought experiment, and quite mind-boggling. Now, if you can recommend any books for me to read, any books that I should put on my book list, then just comment below. Now, the YouTuber that I would like to mention in this video is Palm Faceable. So, if you would like to go and check out her channel, then just click on the book now, on this physicsy book. Click it. Okay? Right. Bye!